How's it everyone, Grant here, welcome back to the channel. And like you just saw, this is going to be my unboxing of the Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus. So I thought I'd fast forward to the unboxing because there are millions of unboxings on YouTube by now, but I didn't want to skip it. I did want to show it to you guys, and I want to focus more on the setup and walkthrough of the device. First things up is I'll show you the box from the S7 Edge versus the S8 box here. So fairly similar, so for those interested and don't remember what the S7 Edge box was like, they're very similar here. You've got the phone branding in the front and the storage size options at the bottom here on the S8 box and at the top here. On one side you've got the color marking with nothing here on the S8 box, and on the S8 box you've got the carrier branding and the color branding on that side, nothing here on the left side of the S7 Edge box. On the rear, they're both going to have the basic specs of the devices. So pause that and read that for yourself if you want to. And the only real difference in the boxes from there are going to be that the S7 Edge had this slide out box sleeve, and it still had that accordion flip to open, so that's nothing different. And the S8 box, instead of that slide out box, is a push top sleeve, so it's just a whole sleeve like you saw. And so obviously these are devices, the S8 here and the S8 Plus. And these are fresh out of the box, so I obviously haven't even set up the time and date properly on both these devices. And I went through the setup and I was able to show you, at least in fast forward, the kind of available storage on each of these devices, software that they're running, all that stuff. But I really want to focus on the setup and walkthrough and discovery of the devices together here. So real quick, I'll show you the differences between the devices. So like I showed you in the boxing, I got the Orchid Gray here in the S8 and the Midnight Black in the Plus. And this Orchid Gray is very nice and very shimmery. And so even when I saw the announcement, I wasn't sure it was going to be purple. A lot of people were saying it's purple, but I didn't think it would look purple. Just thought it looked like dark gray. But I can see in certain lighting it has that violet tint to it. And other lighting it has a very silvery or a dark gray kind of a tint, depending on how you want to look at it. So I think this is a very cool color. It's a new color for the year, and I had to pick it up in at least one of the devices. So I think it does look pretty cool in person here. And of course your Midnight Black, so if you want your all murdered out look here on your device, this is it. It's got the black sides, glossy sides to match with that black glossy back, kind of like that jet black on the iPhone, and it is, much like the iPhone, a fingerprint magnet, and hopefully we'll monitor this over time. Hopefully it does not get any kind of micro abrasions or scratches, at least not as easily as the iPhone. And so perfectly matches the all black look here. And if you notice, this year Samsung has gone with all black bezels on the front for any color of this devices. So no matter what color you pick, you're going to get black bezels on the front, and that's probably because they're selling this infinity display and they don't want any kind of coloring to detract from the fact that you're getting pretty much all screen on the front. So that makes sense there, and I actually like that. I do like that look. But you do notice if you do get a color variant, it's going to be color matched on the sides as well. So the back and the sides are going to be color matched to the color that you get. So you're going to get Orchid Gray on the sides, on the top and on the bottom there, to match that Orchid Gray back. And if you're international, you'll have the option of blue and gold as well, but in the US we only have this Midnight Black, Orchid Gray, and I believe silver. So if you get the specific color option for the back, it'll be color matched to your sides as well. Just something to keep in mind, because some people will get different colors, like maybe black because they want the black bezel, or they'll get a specific color thinking they're going to get the color bezel on the front, and you're not. It's going to be a black front bezel. So I've set up the S8 with, I believe this is face recognition, and the S8 Plus with iris scanner, so you can kind of see the difference in the performance of both. Hopefully this comes through on camera. It's really fast. Facial recognition is super fast in person, but for facial recognition you just have to activate the screen and look at it and it unlocks. So it's just that fast. Again, it's a capacitive home button, so again, because it's all screen, there are no physical home buttons. It's all on-screen buttons, but you just want to turn on the screen either by activating it through the power button or any other button, or through this capacitive button here, and then you just look at the screen and it unlocks super fast. So iris scanner here on the S8 Plus is still pretty fast, but it's an extra step to do it. Just like the Note 7, you have to activate the screen, swipe up on it, and align your irises to the scanner, and it unlocks. So it's a little bit harder behind the camera, but if I just do it, for example, without worrying about the camera, I power it on, swipe up, and I just look at it, and it unlocks really fast. So iris scanner is really fast. It just requires that extra step. So facial recognition is definitely going to be faster. Not as secure because supposedly you can spoof it with a picture. I think for most people, facial recognition is going to be the way to go. The easier you make it for people, that's the option you're going to take. And I think for most people, it'll be fine. Not the most secure. Samsung does warn you about that facial recognition is not the most secure. But I think for most people, it's going to be fine. And fingerprint scanner, I set it up on the S8 Plus because I want to show you on the larger device, because a lot of people are saying it's going to be a lot harder to reach up for that fingerprint scanner. And this is definitely going to be true depending on the size of your hands. For me, it's fairly comfortable. I tried this out in stores beforehand, so I knew it was not going to be too bad. So if I place it naturally in the palm of my hand and just reach up to the fingerprint scanner, it unlocks really fast. And so it's a pretty natural motion for me. The only thing is trying to feel for that scanner. So that's why I look back at it to try to find it. There you go. But of course, with a case, you can feel the edge of the case and slide your finger onto the scanner. It's a lot easier way to locate that scanner. But if I just blindly took it out of the pocket, because it's so flush, the scanner, there's no real indentation on the scanner. Like you can see there, it's just very flush to the body. It's very hard to locate, so that is true. But you kind of get used to it, and for me, at least reachability to it with my hand is not a big a deal on the S8 Plus. So just keep that in mind. Smaller hands, you probably will be doing a lot more reaching. But if I hold it in my hand naturally, I can just reach up, tap it, and unlock it, no problem. Now the other thing with these devices, if you look at on the back this here, the camera bump, there is none. So there is no protruding camera here. Let me see if I can get down the camera for you. So the camera does not protrude at all. It is very flush to the body. So you can see everything on the back is very flush, so nice and neat. So for those who don't like anything protruding on the device, you don't like the camera bumps, that's not going to be a problem with the device this year. Samsung has gotten rid of that. So everything is very flush to the body. And because of that, these things just look like very smooth, rounded pebbles. I mean, that's a very nice thing. I mean, it's just very sleek, very smooth. And that's the only thing that I can think of is they're like really smooth, rounded pebbles. And so you would think it'd be really slippery. It is kind of actually more tactile than I thought it would be, because this material back here is not super, super slippery. It's a bit tactile, so there is more grip than you think, but I would be paranoid walking around with this thing without a case. So like most people do, I would recommend a case as well if you're out and about, especially because considering how much these things cost. Right, so $750 for the S8, $850 for the S8 Plus. After tax here in California, I paid about another $70 after tax. So factor that into the cost. Very expensive devices, so you know, I would protect them if you can. So at least the case at minimum. And again, these are both the T-Mobile variant, and because of that, actually, the T-Mobile variants of the S8 and S8 Plus have gigabit LTE support. Now, whether or not T-Mobile can actually push gigabit LTE in your area, I don't think you're going to ever see those speeds really. But if there is gigabit LTE in your area, you should see faster speeds theoretically with these devices. So it is capable, and it's only on T-Mobile's network there. But it is capable of also gigabit Wi-Fi. So they're both capable of gigabit LTE on T-Mobile's network. It's the only network to support that. But gigabit Wi-Fi can be supported on any network. So your local network, if you've got a gigabit Wi-Fi router, you can actually transfer data between this device and your other Wi-Fi enabled devices at much higher speeds. So if you like to transfer your files and you want to do it wirelessly, but you're afraid to because it was too slow before, if you got a gigabit Wi-Fi router, you can now transfer them at much higher speeds. So just something to note there. If you have any other questions, drop them in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching.